So, at the end of the day, with Ted Cruz dressed in his little Nancy suit, that he had to know what the colors were. He knows what the colors were because he already knew what the colors were because those were the colors on the Vincent and Elkins website before, right after actually, they had their legal hackathon in the summer of 2018. And before they took off all of the public notices they were using for access securities fraud and derivative litigation that was connected to probate cases where they were trafficking children, some younger than 10 years old, for, among other things, gas and oil deals. But as we've demonstrated today, not exclusively gas and oil deals, right? Because that's just like, what do they call it? A gateway drug to uranium trafficking. And so you got him on the floor of Congress when those people enter the Capitol building and put everybody in peril. Of course, everybody has to admonish them despite whatever advantage they hope to curry. Did he intentionally wear that specific color design because he already knew that there was going to be a seating which would allow for them to be able to claim access to the site, and had hoped to what? Once they secured their Russian nuke deal, dump it on my former students in Honduras? Did he really, in addition to kidnapping and trafficking me and stealing my identity, intend to leverage toxic deals connected to strategically determined nuclear defaults on having access to records about my life so he could use young people I used to teach to wave off all the toxic shit he intentionally accrued, hoping that he could swap out the Texas children that he used to develop biological weapons with children somewhere else? Did it actually hit them, or did it hit his sweet little children in the Holy Land, like it ended up happening? Did he wave it off onto Israeli Jewish children so that he could torment them and solidify their conversion scam? Let me ask you, if you don't have the option of waving them off onto Christian children from multiple denominations in Central America because you have someone like me doing certain countermeasures, and it ends up hitting Jewish children in another country and murders them after you intended to swap it out to Iran. What does that say? Because my understanding is what it actually is going to hit are showgirls and hookers. Literal hookers and showgirls that have been trafficked as part of the nuclear paradigm in Israel. But the problem is, it was strategically coordinated to target children based upon sexually torturing me since I was a fucking child. And those sex predators had every intention of seeing to it that I was murdered before the goddamn information got out so that they could be prosecuted for their crimes. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? Are those showgirls and women that aren't breaking the law, perhaps, in Israel, going to be the ones targeted by the strategically coordinated launching of a biological warfare campaign that just ended up leveraging that way? How many Israelis are intended to die? How many Jewish Israelis are intended to die? Because, see, we're in a situation where this is how they are. They leverage this. They think that they have some sort of special God-given right to torture people and rape people and steal from people and lie and slander them over and over and over again. They've lost their leverage. How much is this going to accrue? It's after midnight. It's even after midnight in California. What are you going to do? You need to impeach Ted Cruz immediately. You need to impeach Ted Cruz and every single one of those senators that backed him on that bullshit piece of legislation where they leaned on children of members of the military in order to give kickbacks to their narco friends. Narco left, narco right. Appearances of factional differences do not negate a consistent, continuing criminal enterprise. Every day they're allowed to get away with it is a continuing criminal enterprise. They're not senators, they're not government, they're narcos that infiltrated the government, and they will murder us to cover it up unless you stop them. Stop them tonight.